Austin Meldrum. I'm a musician, I'm an artist, and I'm trying to find who I am through creative expression. Growing up, I never really felt musically talented. I never felt like I had anything to offer. I have 3 older brothers, and all 3 of them are very musically talented. I couldn't sing, I couldn't dance, I just had no musical talent at all. And I remember my dad had this old rusty guitar that we had sitting in our basement. I remember listening to a Jack Johnson song and thinking, man, I want to learn how to play that. It sounds so cool, yet so simple, I feel like I could do that. I went down to the basement, took out my dad's old rusty acoustic, and I just sat in my room for a week trying to learn chords, the finger patterns, trying to learn basic strumming. And I remember I was in there so much that my fingers actually started to bleed at one point. The strings were so rusty, and I just kept going at it. I felt like I'd really accomplished something. And I think, again, that's another way that the Lord inspires us. He gives us talents that we may not realize we have, and they probably won't come easily, but when we dig and work, I think we find things within ourselves that we never knew we had, and music is one of those for me. I felt inspired one day, and maybe even a little prompted to start making some art projects. And this one right here is one of my personal favorite art projects that I've done, and it just kind of came on a whim. So I cut them up and measured the angles, hooked them onto some boards, and we have kind of this like Death Star with surfboards type thing. One of the lowest points in my life actually happened when I was serving as a missionary for the church. I was called to serve in Micronesia Guam mission, and looking back now, it was the greatest experience of my life, and I think that was largely in part to this low point I had, which is, it's not all that unfamiliar for people to have those struggles and low points on their missions and in life, really. But my lowest point, I felt so alone. I was on this remote island. I was struggling with the language. I was struggling to get along with my companion. I was homesick. There was no email. The post office didn't even really deliver our letters reliably, so I just felt like I was without contact. And I was struggling. I mean, I was getting sick. I was frustrated. I was stressed. I was just 24 hours a day. I just felt so inadequate. I felt so just so pressured to perform, but I just couldn't. And I just remember finally just succumbing to the Lord and hitting my knees in prayer and just asking for help. Not that He would make me learn the language overnight, or that He would suddenly make me feel welcome overnight. But I just remember that after I said those few prayers, I suddenly felt just a little bit of confidence, enough confidence to want to study harder, and to want to be more outgoing as a missionary. I felt the confidence that made me want to build a better relationship with my companion, to be of more help to the ward, and to be in better contact with our bishop and the people around. And I just remember that next day, I suddenly felt like everyone was my friend. And it was something I had to work for, of course, but I just remember after that low point came one of the highest highs of my mission, and I succeeded. I felt like I learned the language in a flash. I became very proficient in the language. I made great friends with my roommate, or my companion, I guess. I made great friends with the members of the ward, and I think back now, and it's that little island is one of my favorite places on this whole earth now. My name is Austin Meldrum. I'm an aspiring musician, an artist, a thinker, a returned missionary, and I'm a Mormon.